Just like his signature primary weapon, the Akarius is Gauze's signature secondary weapon and a mastery rank 8, with its blueprint also available from the marketplace and also needing a lot of neurodes, well 3, and a lot of hexanon, again only 150, but the stuff can drop in very low amounts, which is why I'm seeing quite a lot of them. But for a blast based secondary, the things don't look that bad. I like my dual wielding weapons. It does come with 2 polarities, sadly, just like the primary, it's a dash, but this time there's 2 instead of just 1, which means you're going to be on with probably at least 3 Vs for this thing. They do supposedly have a slight homing side to them, shall we say, because within a 15-degree angle of the projection, they will alter their projection to get a bit closer, but the blast radius of them is what made me go, ooh, these things are actually really impressive. But they shoot rockets. Don't rockets usually harm us? And the self-harm usually completely ruins the wrong. These things have no self-damage. You can, in theory, if you can keep up with them using gauze, technically, you could do self-harm, but the rockets have to travel for 10 meters away from you before they will arm. Shooting them at the floor doesn't hurt you. Shooting an enemy that's close enough weirdly does, even if they are closer than 10 meters. It will still damage the enemy, but will kind of damage you. I tried this a few different times, and sometimes it damaged you, sometimes it didn't. This has been done because Gauze can obviously run extremely fast, so hopefully he won't run into his own rockets. Uniquely to this weapon though, it reloads quicker while sprinting, and you, of course, because the Gauze's signature secondary, even faster when wielded by Gauze. And that is who I've used these with. I used them once with Equinox and instantly kind of went, no. These things have a reload speed so slow, well, they may actually take longer to reload standing still or moving by any other frame than the Lex has. It's actually quite nuts considering what's the reload speed on these, 3.4, whereas the Lex is only a 2.3. Even the dual wielding Lex, which technically takes a bit longer, is 3. This is 3.4. The reload on these is what really kind of lets these weapons down. You can, of course, alter this with mods, but you will be sacrificing quite a bit of damage to add this in. More so because, just like his primary, these things carry very little to no ammo. But you can actually get it to kind of a respectable 2.0 by using primed quick draw here, throw stunning speed in as well. It'll come down to 1.6, which is more than halving the reload speed, but 2 mods? So you're going to sacrifice damage for these? Considering I managed to get mine to 13,000 is corrosive, I did keep the blast, could get more if you just went blast with these, and even 607.6 impact. Sacrificing some of that to load these in, I can live with that reload now. It's annoying because it takes forever, but it's a bit more acceptable when you realise you can get over 13,000 elemental damage on top of the inert blast damage these things have. I mean, putting this in here in a polarity, it'll fit in, that's 4,000 damage. Yeah, can live with a reload. For this, I kind of threw Trick Mag on. It's kind of a necessity for this because, as I mentioned earlier, these things have very little ammo reserve. It does use pistol ammo, but the max ammo capacity is pretty low because it goes through it really quickly. It's, what is it, the max ammo is 20 rounds? Without having that in there, it's, you have to put that in there. I kind of wish there was a Prime version of that to make it even better. But on top of that, it was just the usual. Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent, Hornet Strike. There's the 3 Vs I put on this. The 2 dashes it already had. Well, that went on the Elemental combo, and because I have it set up for Corrosive, I also threw in Pistol Pestilence and Jolts, so it has a 93.1% status chance with 13,000 Corrosive. You can, of course, change these and run any Elemental combo you want, as long as you don't try and use Frost, because they are dash polarities, it's not a D. Frost, ice damage, uses a D polarity, so as long as it's a combination of the 2 dashes, you can have the dual stat mods, it will go in there and it will give you 13,000 damage. And the only reason that I didn't bother putting Augur Pact on this, that would add 90% extra damage and actually does give it more damage, swap out one of those dual elemental mods, it will still give you, I think it was 13,413 it went to, but the innate blast goes up, the impact goes up. The status, however, comes down about 12%. I also did try swapping out Lethal Torrent for Magnum Force. Magnum Force, of course, adding 165% damage, taking away 55% of the accuracy. The accuracy goes from 26.7 to 10.8. The Corrosive went to 15,500. Blast went up by about 600, and the impact goes up by 115-ish. But it just, something about having that on there, yes, it was doing a little bit more damage, but the accuracy was just, it wasn't there. It seemed kind of all over the place, so I didn't bother with Augur Pact, I didn't bother with Magnum Force. Yes, it doesn't do as much damage as it could possibly do, but it has the fire rate, the status, and the accuracy remained on it, and this is just how I kind of liked it, because with it having the slow, pathetically slow reload, because you're supposed to be sprinting to reload this because it reloads it quicker, and the fact that the rockets don't deal self-harm, this thing actually turned out to be a ridiculously good secondary. The main thing that killed it wasn't, in fact, the reload speed of 3.4, it was the fact that this thing only holds 12 rounds as its max ammo. It was, you fire the magazine once or twice and, well, that's it. You have to swap back to the primary, and his primary suffers the same problem, sadly. So, yes, this thing does a lot of damage, it's a lot of fun, it's really useful, but only as a backup weapon. You need to run these with a strong strong primary that has a lot of ammo, because these things, they just don't, and that's kind of what killed these off for me. 3 Forma in, I don't think I'm going to be putting a lens on them, because they're good, but the 20 rounds max ammo just ruined these things for me. It was a huge shame as well, because I really loved these things. You could also put on a ammo mutator that would kind of save it, but if there's no ammo around, then, well, you're still going to run out of ammo, mutator or not, and that just, it really did spoil these for me, and it was a huge shame because they were so good. But we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.